stop and think about how such a great fit sci-fi and horror actually are, movies have demonstrated exactly why for decades, but so too have video games, which have also made expert use of one of the more divisive horror tropes going in said sci-fi horror titles: the jump scare. Blah! Did I get you? Well, if I didn't get you then, I'll get you later. Suns, starships, holograms, you name it, and it's probably been used to jump at the screen to send our little gamer hearts into a fit of panic at some point or another. So without further ado, I'm the collectible manic hollow recording of you and from WhatCulture Gaming you just discovered in that creepy hallway over there, and here are the 10 most effective jump scares in sci-fi video games. Number 10, Dead Space. One last scare. God damn it, the final scene of Dead Space still shocks even when you know it's coming. One of the great joys in the remake of EA's seminal space game was seeing what had changed and what had been kept the same. While the core limb-lopping gameplay was kept gratifyingly untouched, bar some reworked weapons and shinier necromorph viscera, the story received some welcome updates. Having said that, one of the biggest story beats was kept mercifully unaltered: that final jump scare. Much like Carrie's hand rising from the grave, protagonist Isaac Clarke being ambushed by his dead lover seconds before the credits roll is an iconic image in the horror genre. Number 9, Elite Dangerous. Warping in front of the sun. Most of the jump scares in this video are the result of heavily scripted scenes, which makes sense. It's easier for a developer to manipulate the player's emotions when they control every aspect of what's unfolding on screen. However, not all the entrants on this list are so carefully choreographed. Instead of pre-planned frights, these are gloriously terrible moments with the game's systems combined to create a moment of pure unscripted terror. Elite Dangerous has won fans across the world for its no-nonsense approach to sci-fi spacefaring. The game very much leaves it up to the player to get good, letting them make mistake after mistake in their quest to explore the galaxy. One of the most common mistakes players make is pointing their ship in the direction of a nearby star before entering hyperspace. Dropping out of hyperspace to see a celestial fireball looming over their ship is a moment Elite players are unlikely to forget, and a heart-stopping reminder that games are at their most memorable when things go very, very wrong. Number 8, FREESPACE 2. Dive. From one hyperspace-based scare to another now, and FREESPACE 2's infamous cry of "dive, dive, dive" is guaranteed to trigger flashbacks in those lucky enough to have experienced it firsthand. Towards the end of Interplay's sorely underrated space sim, the player is tasked with infiltrating the enemy fleet in an intel gathering mission. The mission briefing stresses that this will be a stealth mission, heavily emphasizing the importance of going in quiet. So, naturally, within the seconds of the mission starting, the following events occur. Number 1, a giant blue flash of energy appears in front of you. Number 2, a staggeringly huge, kilometers-long enemy warship emerges from the flash and barrels straight at you. Number 3, your commander bellows the command in this entry's title. And number 4, you end up pushing your flight stick so hard you lift its base off the desk, while a ghostly Obi-Wan voice says, "Screw this, I'm out of here." FREESPACE 2 is fondly remembered by those who played it for its ability to confound expectations, and starting a supposedly quiet reconnaissance mission with a moment of pants-cacking terror certainly did that. Number 7, Mass Effect 2. David Screams. Mass Effect is certainly no stranger to horror. Literally one of the first things the series throws at you is innocent colonists being impaled on spires and having their corpses converted into zombie cyborgs. But Mass Effect 2's Overlord DLC ratchets up the cruelty to truly uncomfortable levels. Throughout the DLC, the player is periodically subjected to what the game's subtitles describe as a quote-unquote unintelligible shriek. Sounds totally non-threatening. Said shriek is utterly horrifying, a garbled, distorted scream of pure agony, like a sentient Roomba being fed into a wood chipper. The scream reoccurs several times throughout the level, and it never stops being unsettling. Of course, the reason for that is made clear at the end of the DLC, as the quote-unquote machine turns out to be a man named David who has been strapped up to a truly terrifying mechanical apparatus by his evil scientist brother. Number 6, Doom 3. Dark Reflection. id Software's much lambasted third entry in the Doom franchise is often, and some would say fairly, derided for its dull levels, uninspired creature design, and over-reliance on jump scares. Now, it may seem odd to criticize the use of jump scares in a video designed to celebrate them, but Doom 3's overusage of monster closets, having monsters leap at you out of nowhere, really does start to grate long before the campaign actually ends. However, there is one decent scare. Near the start of the PC version, or the end of the Xbox version, there's a fairly innocuous bathroom placed in the player's path. Enter it and look at the mirror, and stuff starts getting pretty freaky. Like, I've just come back from the pop-punk themed night out, and I'm reflecting on all my life choices in the bathroom mirror type freaky. Your character's face suddenly melts like Homer's under Bart's death glare in that one Simpsons episode. You know the one. While the screen fades into a blood red hellscape around them. It's abrupt, it's terrifying, and it's perfectly executed. And then the game spoils it by having a monster spawn right behind you for the 9th time. God damn it. Number 5. Alien Isolation. That goddamn xenomorph. Alien Isolation provides an interesting point of contrast to the previous entry, and not just because Isolation is actually good. Ayo! Sorry, Doom 3, but in that game, your heavily armed protagonist was the deadliest character in any level. In Alien Isolation, that's very much not the case. Playing as Amanda Ripley, daughter of Sigourney Weaver's Ellen, the player is made extremely aware of their powerlessness in the face of the game's eponymous xenomorph. From its masterful introduction onward, the titular alien acts as an implacable, unstoppable foe for the duration of the game. This is, quite simply, horror done right. Horror games should make you feel helpless against the foes around you. Why would you be scared of something you have an advantage over? Alien Isolation excels at this, and the result is a game fraught with tension. And when the Xeno finally bursts forth from its hiding place like a bat out of hell, it takes a stronger person than me not to panic and flee in sheer manic terror. Only I rarely get away, as there's typically so much fear in my brain I end up having the movement ability of a torn in half bishop from the ending of Aliens. Messy. Number 4. BioShock. The Dentist. Taking a break from space-based scares, BioShock's underwater city of Rapture shows that life may not be better down where it's wetter, but it sure as hell is more terrifying. Rapture's oceanic dystopia is populated with one of gaming's more disturbing bestiaries, a motley collection of deranged mutants, superpowered psychopaths, and armored behemoths. Yet, in spite of all that, the most terrifying moment in the game comes courtesy of a humble dentist. Sadly, this one isn't portrayed by Steve Martin. The scare in question comes early on in the game when you're tasked with exploring Rapture's medical pavilion. This takes you to a dentist's office, which is currently filled with steam due to a malfunctioning pipe in the area. Walking around the misty office, you know that something is going to emerge from the gloom and attack you. Yet, even when that moment happens, you aren't ready for it. This guy just materializes, either leaving you in the gutter if you're too slow, or swiftly turning into pink mush if you're quick on the trigger. Yes, that was another Little Shop of Horrors reference. Number 3. Subnautica. The Reaper Leviathan. You may be looking at this image here, which depicts an appropriately named Reaper Leviathan getting the drop on some poor soul submersible, and be wondering how the hell something so big managed to sneak up on the person manning the vehicle. Well, viewer, it's a question I've asked myself many times during my time with Subnautica. Like Alien Isolation Xenomorph, the Reaper Leviathan makes its way onto this list not for any one scare in particular. Rather, it's here because I can guarantee that at some point in your playthrough of Unknown Worlds' oceanic masterpiece, you will disregard the advice of Blue Oyster Cult and fear the Reaper. The Reaper Leviathan. Unlike Alien Xenomorph, there are a number of Reaper Leviathans populating the world of Subnautica, and all of them pose a severe threat to the player. Reapers move faster than their size suggests, and the first time one rushes at you like a toothy torpedo, it will catch you out and devour you before you're done panicking. Number 2. Prey. The Hologram Fakeout. While exploring Prey's alien-infested space station, the player will come across a task to calibrate a hologram. While running through said test, one of the objects in the room will suddenly transform into a mimic, a shape-shifting alien that can assume the shape of any inorganic object. At this point, instinct will take over, and you'll start blasting the mimic to kingdom come. Except, surprise! it wasn't real. It was just another hologram set up as a somewhat cruel practical joke by an engineer. Hardy ha ha, very clever, Prey. You got me pretty good there. Oh, Jesus Christ, there's a real one there after all. Yep, after facing the fake mimic, a real one comes in, lured by all the noise you made assaulting the fake one. Good grief. And number 1, Iron Lung. The reveal. A taut, claustrophobic thriller set in an ailing submarine, Iron Lung is well worth the hour it takes to finish. And holy hell, does that finish live up to everything that precedes it? Like all good horror games, Iron Lung ratchets up the tension and dread felt by the player before stuff really hits the fan. The game tasks you with driving a submarine around a literal blood moon, as in a moon covered in a sea of blood. That's a banging image, but all the while the vehicle creaks, moans, and seems constantly on the verge of breaking down, and you're painfully aware that something out there is watching your every move. Finally, after 60 minutes of nauseous fear of your submarine falling apart, fear of what might be on the other side, you're given one last set of coordinates. Input them, and well, yeah, it's fish death. Sad, instantaneous, pressure-crushing fish death. Good God. And there you have it, the 10 most effective jump scares in sci-fi games. Any that we missed? Go sudden horror noise yourself down into the comments below and let us know. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to WhatCulture Gaming if you want more. Either way, I've been Ewan. Thank you for collecting the audio recordings of my declining sanity before I get killed by the monster that's been hunting you all, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.